curious, when did you decide that you even wanted to be an actor? Was anybody in your family doing it, or were you the first person? You know.
No, honestly, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be either a pediatrician or a veterinarian. I was in love with animals. And I had gone to the hospital and I was sick of being sick. So I was like, I'm going to fix myself. And that's why they told me, oh, you could be a pediatrician when you get older and work for kids. And that was what my focus was on. I was like, I'm going to be a vet. And I kind of held true to that. I matriculated all throughout college under a pre-med idea. And then I got a horrible chemistry teacher. I got a horrible chemistry experience that just really deterred me and pushed me away from pursuing it, because at the time my advisor and my coaches and the people who were to be the superiors weren't in, and it only made it so that I would have to rely on the particular teacher that I was having an issue with. And so, because there was no solution or resolve at the time, I changed my career path and trajectory, and I decided to do communications. And in me doing communication throughout high school, as far as the arts and creative media started to pop up, I started to see all my friends that I would do commercial dance classes with in commercial dances or on tour or on the stage or on the playbill. And I was like, wait a minute, they're making money from doing this? Because the entire time I thought that they weren't making money, um, they were getting paid. And I was like, if they're getting paid to do that and I'm just as good, then I can do that too. Because now I'm pursuing a degree in media, in communications and journalism. So they kind of go hand in hand. And as I started writing more about these experiences, these shows, it made me want to have more went home, thoughts of going back to school. And then the moment I got back home, all of these career opportunities for acting and seat filling and dancing, they started to come up, and I was casting them. I couldn't work all of them, but I was booking, and I was like, wait a minute, this is something I really like. I really enjoy it. I want to do it. And I think it's for me. And so I was like, I'm not going back to school. I guess you are. And I was like, no, I'm not. And actually, she was like, okay, you know what? I don't really want you to go back. I want you to take care of your brother. My brother was autistic at the time and he was living with us. And she was like, she struggled. She has been having a lot of issues with him from me being away. So she was like, I don't care if you don't go back to that school, but go back to school. And I was like, no, unless you pay for it. Obviously, she didn't pay for it. That's a whole nother discussion. But the intent was there. And that's how I kind of got into it. I wasn't gun ho about it. I didn't perceive myself doing it. It was something that I was always good at. And because I happened to be really good at it, I kind of felt like I shouldn't do it. My family, like I told you earlier, they're Jamaican, they're Caribbean. That means they have a very strict idea on what is sustainable as a career path. And they're not wrong. So, in my mind, it was always go to school, become a lawyer or doctor, and get paid that way. And so, arts was completely off of the table. I kind of just decided I was young and I was having fun and it was working out. I was getting chump change to keep, taking the bus or taking the train or doing this or doing that. And so it allowed me to make connections. My father eventually was like, if you make the right connections, bring them over to the restaurant. He was trying to keep the restaurant afloat and all these other things. So that's really, I've always wanted to. It was just something that I kind of happenstance fell in. I started off doing, medicine, but I love it. I'm very passionate about the sciences and the arts and combining them. I love every aspect of it. I think in order to be really good in the arts, you have to kind of have an idea of the science, the human experience, emotions, body language, just different things to make it more even feasible when it's on screen or realistic when it's on screen. So for me, it's a combination of the two, and I feel so I feel so unlike myself when I'm not still a part of the art community in some way, with dance, media, acting, because it's that much a big portion of my life now. And I feel more than grateful and blessed that I was able to do the shows that I've been able to do, even to work in.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That sounds very, very inspiring. It's good that you still pursuing your dream. You know, you talk about all the things that you had to go through to get there because a lot of times people take it for granted. We just turn on power and we see you on there with the role. They don't know the ups and downs, you know, that you had to go through to get there. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that. Let me see.
And there are some people are like, oh my God, she's so pompous. She's so in becoming my own, right? And I realized that there are times to be humble or to come across as modest, and there are times where you should feel worthy enough of your own self praise. And I believe in that because as I met younger students, as I met a lot of them didn't believe in themselves, not just because of all the struggles that they were physically or financially, but because of just lack of people in their lives to say it's okay to think well of yourself. It's okay to think and have the confidence in yourself that you're supposed to like yourself. You're supposed to trust your instincts. You're supposed to listen to your inner voice. And once you start doing those things, it's going to give you a higher confidence because you're going to have access to a higher conscious. And a lot of people, the more vocal I became about understanding that as long as you're not dead, you have another day to be okay, to do all right, to do good and be better. Right. And so once I started feeling that energy, I realized a lot of people did not like that there was a young girl being confident and happy and pursuing her dreams. But there were a lot of Black men who never had that permission. So I started this whole thing like, yeah, we're going to be humble like Kanye. And obviously I didn't start it, but for a woman to carry that on her back, like the Black man, um, that was just my thing. And so I know sometimes people get rubbed off a little, you know, because they're like, oh, she's so pompous or she's so this. Is just like, no, I've gone through enough where I just decided to love myself. I decided to trust myself. I decided to be vocal and I want to do it in the most tasteful way every single time. But sometimes I might get it wrong. And I'm okay with that too because that's part of my journey, my process, and it's almost always going to be authentic coming from the right place. And so thank you for even, understanding that and being receptive to it. I appreciate that.